I grew up in a small town too, right? And the mine, there was only one, Homestake McLaughlin, and it was the biggest, job employer in the county, essentially. And I got to go to work there, and because of that mine, and because what I learned at that mine, starting as a haul truck driver, going into dozer, grader, and loader, and other pieces of equipment, and then into the safety department, was I able to continue start a career with MSHA, which took me into retirement and a wonderful annuity, right? Retirement. So I'm so grateful for mining, and I've met so many people over the years, going to Elko, going to Winnemucca, heading up to Idaho, Alaska, so many amazing people, especially in the mine rescue community, and safety communities. I'm so grateful for all of that.
100%.
And I think it's hard not to want to stay in it, right?
Yeah.
So, I could go home and put on a bathing suit and hang out by the lake, but no, it's just not me.
Please help us welcome Diane Watson to the 2025 Mine Safety and Health Conference.
Warning, explicit content. This material may not be suitable for children. Listener discretion is advised.
Find a way, gotta be willing to go put in some elbow grease, cause nothing that you get in this life comes free. Gotta work all day, gotta pay these bills and time.
Hello, miners. Hello, podcast listeners. Welcome into Mining Minds. Welcome into this special episode, sitting at the GSR at the 2025 MSHA Annual Convention, sitting with my man, Dino Brunson.
Oh, we're sitting with the lady of the hour.
We are. And she's been on the podcast, but this is the first time we actually get to sit down on the mics together.
And we are in her element.
100%. Dan,
thank you for getting us on and getting us in. And as much as we are involved this year, thank you.
Why don't you let people know who's here?
Dude, we got to build it up, man.
Hey, I can build it up myself.
There you go.
Yeah. I really appreciate you guys coming. Really appreciate you guys showing up and doing this, because it's so exciting to have you here.
We're excited to be here. And just so the audience knows, we're sitting down with episode number 93. I almost said 193. But Diane Watson, you were originally on episode 93. That was May 20th, 2021.
Wow.
That was a long time ago.
That was 4.5 years ago.
So I guess a lot has happened since then. To Dino's point, I want to echo what he says and said, thank you for getting us out here. Yeah. You've been a very positive supporter of us since the beginning. So not idle words. Thank you very much.
You're absolutely welcome. But I didn't do it myself. There was several committee members that were adamant that we had to get you here and we had to take care of you. So I'm really glad you guys are here. And I can't wait to see what comes out of this week in your podcast. It's going to be awesome. And I understand you're doing a breakout session.
We are. Two of them. Yep.
Yeah. So
we've got headlamps and heartbeats. And then conversation versus compliance.
Yep. So one of them is the physical and mental health on the mining side, really from the face, our experiences. And then the other one is, that checkbox culture. How do you, instead of having you need a compliant workforce, but how do you start driving culture through conversation and storytelling and things like that? So I think it'll be fun.
Part of our hopes are the experiences that we've had out at site, but also the 200 episodes that we've had, and the experiences of others. We can bring that and help utilize that to start forming the new culture for the future of mining, right? How to bring it back to the human element is really what our focus is going to be.
Yeah, and I think that's super important because, we know that through attrition, we're losing a lot of really high quality miners, people with a lot of knowledge. And so the podcast that you guys have done in the past, bringing people together to talk about solutions with respect to that, is very important. And so I love what you guys are doing. I think it's so important to really try to reach out. I think you were talking about reaching out to military personnel, giving them opportunities or presenting to them the opportunities that are available in mining. And then also, after that, reaching out to some of these young folks coming out of college or coming out of high school that want to start a career in mining.
It's been kind of mind-blowing. looking at how much we don't do for the youth that are in our own backyard, right? I mean, we're fishing from big ponds because there's more people, but even marketing to the youth in our neighborhoods in these mining districts isn't what it should be, right? And we've definitely formed some relationships over the last 4 years that we feel that we're helping move the needle. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take how do they say it takes the tribe.
Yeah, it takes the
But
town.
we're hopefully moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. This is an exciting event for us. Obviously, my background safety, I did that for years. But maybe walk us through a little bit about what you guys, because you're on the board here, correct?
Yes, I'm vice chair this year. I'm going to be the chair of the committee next year.
Cool.
So I've got a question as we open this up. How does it make you feel knowing that we've got a lot of people leaving the industry and a lot of that tribal knowledge is moving on? How does that make you feel knowing that we've got to bring another generation into the workforce from the safety perspective?
It really concerns me, and I think we probably are all on the same page here. Safety is so incredibly important. The mining industry is not the most dangerous industry in the world. We know that, right? I think retail is probably more dangerous than mining.
An Uber driver.
Yeah, but nonetheless, we need the experience. We need people mentoring other people to make sure that that they are following all these safety protocols. You know, that little green book that the MSHA inspectors walk around with is, written in blood, essentially.
Yeah.
It's there because people have gotten killed or severely injured. And so we want to make sure that we're instilling that culture and instilling those policies and procedures and rules in those new miners and letting them know how important it is. And I think we had a conversation earlier about communication, and that's key too. You need to be able to go to your manager and say, I don't feel safe, or this doesn't seem right, and it should be stop work for everybody, regardless of what your level is in the mine. Management, hourly, it doesn't matter. You should be able to stop work.
Well, absolutely. But I think some of those people that are leaving the industry are taking that crystal ball with them that were always at the face, that listen to the miners, that if they're changing a standard, they're vetting it through the miners to make sure that, hey, this isn't going to cause another incident because we changed this up, right? To where we're lucky enough that we get to kind of interject our opinions or what we think about that this week on, are we just building that checkbox compliance? Everybody knows we got the 30 CFR, but what does that mean? The interpretations change, and Grover and I were having this discussion up in the room a little bit ago. It's like, how do we get everybody to interpret it the right way? That at the end of the day, everybody needs to be able to go home safe and healthy, right?
Yeah.
The bottom line, that book is minimum standards.
Yes.
Most companies, most good quality companies go way over and above, which is fantastic. But you've got a lot of
Until
smaller
it comes
places.
to competition.
Yes.
And then everybody, like, you're wearing head to toe high vis, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your trucks are all tricked out and high vis lit flags, you name it. It's like, wow.
Well, it becomes, to me, and I always step back and look at this, and I hate to say this, I was in the safety and health world for a long time, but I feel like we've gotten away from really getting to the face and having those conversations with people at the face to drive what that standard looks like. We need to have the little green book, like everybody talks about, because that is written in blood. We just spoke about that. But you also have the law of diminishing returns, and we've talked about, like, people don't understand the why behind it, or they don't understand how come this is the way that it is. And I struggle because we have career safety professionals that will make a career out of writing standards, policies, and procedures, but they've not been to the face to ask the people at the face what should be done. So that's my rub. And I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus out there. I just think that through our conversation today, we're a little bit fired up because we've been talking about, damn it, we need to get to the face more.
Yeah, you make an excellent point. You have these new people coming in, and you can have that little book and whatever, but if you don't explain the why, the reasons why, right, the explanations behind it, and you're losing all those people that have that knowledge, right? They're all going down the road, and then you have these new safety representatives or new safety managers that don't really have the hands-on experience. and they can't relay that to the new folks coming in.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're all limited by time, right? To where if you're a safety professional, not even a safety professional, if you're in the industry, everybody in this generation is trying to get to that next step faster, right? To where when you came in the 70s and the 80s, you stayed in a position for a while. You became the master of that, and then you got moved up almost similar to a union style, right? You had to basically prove yourself, and you worked with hard-nosed people that knew exactly what they were doing, and sometimes maybe not, and that's how you learned. But at the end of the day, I think this new generation coming in, and I'm even maybe a part of that, we're wanting to go too far too fast instead of just being a master of what we're doing today.
Well, I think that's the great part about this conference specifically. It's been 7-8 years since I've been here, but I can remember the last time I was here because we were having in-depth conversations. So I'm looking forward to see what, answering maybe some of those questions that you have or I have or we have as a group, because there are some amazing people in this industry that are not only in the position to ask that question, but in the position to drive some results from those questions being asked. Sponsoring this episode of the podcast and our event sponsor for our trip to the Mine Safety and Health Conference is Safety First Training and Consulting. Headquartered here in Elko, Nevada, but mobile enough to reach you anywhere throughout the United States. These guys can cover it all, from MSHA approved to new miner training, annual refresher courses for both surface and underground. They can help support with health testing like spirometry, respirator fit tests. They even offer courses like fall protection. So head on over to their website at safetyfirstelco.com. Check them out. Their mission is to help your crew adopt an ownership mindset. Not just do the training, but live the training safely every shift. With top-notch instructors and hands-on classes, Safety First Training and Consulting makes sure you're not just compliant, you're confident. Give these guys a visit at safetyfirstelco.com.
Yeah, well, one of my questions, maybe too, Diane, is from the safety perspective. What we're seeing from an industry as a whole is everybody's trying to shoot the elephant in a different location. How do we focus the safety effort where everybody's message is essentially the same, in understanding where we're at with our workforce and where we're headed, and how do we nail that down?
It's a philosophy question, pretty much, right? You have to have people with dedication and a collaborative kind of an effort to come together and to put the same message together. But like you were talking about, we have so many new people that come from different perspectives now. It's really hard to put it all in line like that. I think you're right. That would be more beneficial to the miners, right, to the safety of the miners, than anything else.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of today's workforce, too, what we're coming up against is back in the day, maybe you didn't question as much what your boss told you to do. And that maybe the culture nowadays is kids or this generation's questioning more, and you're not able to have those hard discussions like they used to back in the day. Basically do it because I told you to. We got that softer generation to where we got to work through conversations more.
Maybe. There's the other side of it too, that back in the day you just did what you were told. But I feel like that older generation put you through a little bit of crap, and then they told you the why. So right now I think we're asking the why right away instead of going through a little bit of crap. So I don't disagree with you, but I can think of a couple examples. Travis Macias was one where he kind of went through some stuff, but the guys took him back. I know in my career did the same thing. Go out there and do that, and you go out and struggle, and then they go, "Hey, dummy, you could have done it this way."
Yeah.
So,
I just want to clarify something. I never, I never just went along with it. I always, if I thought something was wrong or didn't fit right, or I had an idea, I always brought it up. And sometimes it got me in trouble. Other times it saved my life.
Yeah.
Or the life of others, and then it took me to a career, an amazing career, 22 years in MSHA. I really appreciate what I learned in the mining industry, working at a mine, right? Going through all of those processes, being able to speak my mind and then being told yes or no.
and fighting through that a little bit too, right?
Yeah, fighting through it. And I think it was that outward, I want to do this, I want to make things better, that took me to the career that I ended up in and was able to retire from. So,
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. So it's been 4 years since we got a chat. What have you been doing in those 4 years? And just for the audience, you have to go back and listen to episode 93. Dino, before we started the podcast, we both asked, how's the house? How's things going?
How's the cabin?
The cabin, yep.
Cabin's doing great. I've done, a little bit more renovation and some fun things outside,
Yeah.
It's a lake house, so you have to make it, you have to make it fun.
Oh, yeah. Now, is it a summer lake house or you stay there all year?
I live there, full time.
Okay.
But I know you took on your consulting because at that time you had Silverado, Compliance Solutions. You're still running with that?
Yeah, still running with Silverado Compliance Solutions. I've had the opportunity to help several mining companies, especially here in Nevada.
Cool.
Teaching supervisors basically how to navigate MSHA inspections, how to properly do investigations, and essentially just understanding what their roles and responsibilities are, with respect to their direct reports and stuff. So it's been very interesting, great conversations, a lot of fun, and I've been able to do that with one of my cohorts who's an attorney for Jackson Kelly, Karen Johnston, and she's fantastic. She's a great presenter too. So her and I have kind of hit the road a little bit together and done some things together. It's been wonderful.
And how exciting though, from a third party perspective, you're limited only to yourself, right? I mean, to where you can still be creative.
Yeah.
You can learn the best way to talk to whatever group you're in front of, and you have all the experience that you brought with you to be able to help increase or benefit that mine's culture, as long as they're, the site is willing to let their people, go your direction, essentially.
Yeah, and if they're going to bring people in to listen to me talk, it's going to benefit them. They're going to stay out of trouble. I used to be the supervisory special investigator for MSHA and did a lot of interesting work out there in the field, kind of behind the scenes, some of it, and then some of it, out in the open. But it keeps those frontline supervisors out of trouble, or makes them understand what their responsibilities are with respect to MSHA and miners' rights and other stuff. So,
you know what I found when I was, and this is multiple locations, is the amount of people that maybe didn't understand that they're an agent of the company.
right.
And what do you mean? Well, let me sit down and have this conversation, because you don't even know what you're liable for at this point and how big of a quote unquote risk that is, right?
Yeah.
So you get to do that pretty consistently then.
Yeah,
You get to go
and
out and help these guys.
It would really surprise you. The mouths drop open and the eyes get wide. But yeah, and I describe what that is. What is an agent? And
Well, maybe for our audience, we can explain that a little bit. That'll help them out too.
well, sure. Do you direct the workforce? Right? Do you order parts, schedule maintenance? Do you authorize vacations or time off? Are you a lead man that say the boss is gone that day? The wife is having a party, something like that, and you are leading the crew that day, and you make a decision. There's so many things that can make an individual an agent of the corporate operator, and they could be held responsible. So,
But I think if we all operated like that, even down to the operator, we're sitting in a better spot. You know what I mean? So to where it's everybody's responsibility, right? And sometimes those salaried supervisors or the people that are making the decisions get the hammer thrown down on them per se. But it takes us all.
Well, that should be, and that's why I said it's surprising that people don't know more about it, because I always used to say you're directing the workforce, or in certain cases influencing decisions in the workforce, because people then start thinking about that differently, and they go, well, am I influencing? And then that starts to drive some of what you're talking about, is like, okay, I need to maybe think about this from a different lens. I'm not just ordering parts, or I'm not just, whatever the case may be. So I thought thank you for explaining that or going over that, because that was a cool rabbit hole that I forgot that, man, I've had probably 50 of those conversations in my career. And people are shocked and go, that's not me. No, that's exactly you.
That's absolutely you, and you have the potential to be personally fined.
Yep.
Well, and part of the reason that we're here this week, man, is to really help promote the MSHA convention, right? And really, hopefully, help be that liaison between the mine operators, the mine employees, to start being active in this conference. I mean, sometimes, or at least when I was out at site, there was almost like a division that MSHA wasn't for us. They were against us. It was just for the citations. And it's like, man, we're all on the same team. Like we're fighting for the same goal, to where I think venues like this are super important for just the average miner to show up, be a part of, sign up, and come and learn what it's all about.
Yeah.
Have you guys have is it a record number this year, or pretty close to a record number?
A record number, but I just want to clarify, it's
Sorry.
not an MSHA conference, okay? It's the Mine Safety and Health Conference run by industry folks.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
industry folks. And unfortunately this year, because of the government shutdown, MSHA can't be here. And they've been a participant in all the years past, and usually do breakout sessions and stuff. And sometimes are on our committee as well. But unfortunately, because of the shutdown, they're not able to come this year, which it'll be a deficit of some sort. But
yes, sitting in on some of their conversations, getting it from the horse's mouth, that's a helpful thing. I haven't been here in quite a while, but that's one thing I do remember specifically.
it's not just that too, but it's them being here and being able to mingle with people, and you get to know your inspectors, get to know your supervisors, and establish relationships, right?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Build relationships with them, and that way, when you're out there in the field and something comes up, you know that individual, and you can have a conversation with them.
Or you can call and utilize them as a resource.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, hey, you're coming to my site. It's like, hey, Joe, I just wanted to call you. I got a question on some things, and maybe get more educated around what I'm dealing with as a supervisor, or whatever that agent of the company that you're in at that point.
Yeah.
So let's walk through this convention.
Yeah.
400-ish? How many? I'm sorry.
I think we have 460 registered, which is the most we've ever had. We love it here in Reno. Really love it. It's fantastic. I want to say something about this year's committee, and they were most of them here last year, but for some reason this year, the enthusiasm has been amazing. Right? We have a couple of people on our committee that just go over and above, and our publicity has been amazing. The outreach has been fantastic. Vendors, we have more vendors here than we've ever had. I mean, we're overflowing out into the foyer.
Hey, and you guys gave us a nice little corner, so thank you.
Yeah, we always put baby in the corner. So
That's true. That's true.
I love it. So I'm really excited about this year. I can't wait. We have vendors that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
We have speakers that we've never dealt with before. We got a couple of really good power keynote speakers. So very excited about this conference.
I hope
think
you're not
it's gonna be great.
referencing Victor.
Well,
I'm kidding. I love Victor.
I got to be honest. The reason why I selected Victor as a keynote speaker for, I believe, Wednesday morning, this is something I don't think should be missed, it was your podcast when you had your panel. That was the reason why. And
Very
so I just felt like I've known Victor a long time, and it's always been a joke. It's always been fun.
Yep.
Mine rescue contest, he was the first time I met him, he was a patient for me. You can just imagine.
Yes, I can.
Yeah, it was. I've never laughed so hard in my life, So just to hear the professionalism and the ideas and the thought process that he goes through, I'm like, this is a perfect guy to come and talk to the group.
You know what? Grover and I have had an amazing opportunity to, and we're very grateful to be able to watch people like Victor in their career grow from, him and Grover came up together in the industry, to see where he's at now. The success stories in the industry like that that we get to be a part of are amazing. Sitting here visiting with somebody of your stature in the mining industry. I mean, we're grateful. I mean, it's like you guys are the celebrities. We just get to talk.
We've also said that too. Like everybody doesn't think they have a good story, or you're like, oh, you don't think you're a big deal. There's a lot of good nuggets that we had the opportunity to sit down and learn from you, right? Yeah. How many people do you get to visit with to share that knowledge? So I'm appreciative that people like you are still in the industry as we talk about the new generation coming in, because we're going to lose that if you guys decide to hang up and brass out for the last time. You know what I mean?
Well, to show what the mining industry provides. I mean, coming from a forklift operator at JCPenney, right?
Yeah.
To having 22 to 25 years in the industry and going through all these like super cool classes, and now you were like one of the heads
Yeah.
of.
You're a
It's
stud.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got to stay in it because I got to pay for my camping trips. You know.
No retirement in the near future. I take it.
No, I'm going to stay at it. I'm 65 years old now, which is shocking to me because I look stunning.
Yeah, you do. You look 45.
I look older.
Did you like how I pulled that off right there?
Grover looks older than you for sure.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sponsoring this episode of the podcast, JSR Fleet Performance, supporting the people who keep mining moving. If you're a part of a training group or managing equipment operator development, you know it's not just about running gear, it's about running it right. JSR Fleet Performance works alongside training teams to extend the life of your fleet, reduce costly breakdowns, and make sure your operators understand how to get the most out of every machine. With customized training support, maintenance insights, and real-world in-field education, JSR helps surface operations boost reliability, safety, and productivity from the pit to the shop. So whether you're building the next generation of mining professionals, looking to audit what you currently have going on, or looking to help develop your workforce, brass in at Mining Minds LLC and bring JSR Fleet Performance into your corner.
I would like to ask though, since you're doing some work in Nevada specific, we've got a lot of shifting in Nevada at this point. You know what I mean? Whether it's owners or new properties coming online, I'm sure that some perspective, like you're only able to be involved in so much. I mean, how do you filter the work and go, hey, these guys are going to need some help, and these guys are going to need some help? I mean, do you reach out to other resources? How does that look?
well, I feel like I decided early on, there's a lot of things I could do. I'm a blue card holder, mine rescue, all that. But I decided to stick with the certain niche of, or niche, however you want to call it, of training supervisors, just trying to work with the leaders in the industry that are bringing other young folks in to teach them, especially new supervisors, to teach them how to stay out of trouble or what the law requires or how to keep people safe or how to change culture, behavioral stuff, stuff like that. I decided just to stay kind of in that lane because that's where I feel the most comfortable. And it's rewarding too.
Yeah.
It's really rewarding. And I think I spoke to you earlier about there's a lot of times I get calls from people that they want this or they want that. And if I don't feel that they take safety seriously, I will not take that job. It's not that
Yeah.
I want to.
It's not about the money.
It's not about the money. I want to be with people that are committed, right? Committed to protecting people.
Yeah. You're committed to the industry.
Yeah, or educating people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's an integrity thing, right? Because we can all sell our souls down the river, but being able to stand on principle and go, I'm not going to waste my time because it's not a waste of time. But at the end of the day, if you know that they're just checking the box, then what are we doing?
I did that early on. I thought I had to take a job, right? And it just created anxiety in me.
Sure.
And when I learned that the owner of the company, didn't have the slightest bit of care for his employees, it created stress and anxiety in me, and I couldn't fix it. It was out of my control. So,
well, sticking with Dino's maybe question too, is there anything you see Nevada specific? And this isn't one site or anything like that, but maybe things that you go, hey, there's something we can improve on here in Nevada or as a group. Is there anything like that you might have a, insight, opinions, ideas, suggestions?
Well, most of the companies that I've worked for in Nevada have exceptional safety programs. And, you see some really positive stuff, and they've got some really positive people. But I think, as long as they don't lose that, they don't call it a process and they lose the personal part of it. Sure. Don't just follow a list of stuff that you're supposed to do. Realize that every individual learns differently, comes from a different part of life, that you're going to reach them by understanding who they are and not just following a list of stuff that you think everybody needs to learn.
Well, from your perspective, I can imagine you're able to deliver that message at a different level from a third party side of things to where you're going to get more value. The company's going to get more value out of having somebody like yourself rather than just tribal knowledge being passed down, right?
Right. And, I have the opportunity, somebody brings me out, I have the opportunity I can go through the presentations in the program and the information, but I can also tell war stories, sit with people that have questions, during breaks and afterwards, and talk about specific situations that they may be faced with, where you can't really get that sometimes in a big annual fresher class or new minor class.
That's one of the things that we're going to be touching on in our presentation is a little bit of vulnerability as a third party. I mean, number one, you have more time. Maybe you don't have more time, but your time is going to be a little bit different than somebody at the mine site, right? It's going to be detailed on those individuals. You're able to tell your war stories or how you came up and how you've learned, and to where that employee is going to, or that supervisor, whoever you're mentoring at that point, is going to be able to digest that information differently rather than a supervisor telling another supervisor,
right?
And not being, vulnerable and say, hey, I had to learn this way and I failed. Because I think that's one of the ego parts of the mining industry that people, we all have that ego to where you don't want to let your people underneath you know that you failed, but we all do. But for you to come in and deliver a message and say, hey man, yeah, here's my war stories, and they connect with you, that's where you see the light.
It's super important to connect with people, build relationships, take the time with them. And a lot of times, when you have 1,000 employees and you have classes and you have boxes you have to check, it's really hard to spend the individual time with those people.
So I got a question for you outside the box here. The bigger or I guess not the bigger, but the bigger the conglomerations get for these mining companies buying each other out, and the organizations get bigger. Do you see any benefit to that from the people's perspective on learning how to be a good miner, or the reasons why we do what we do?
I think it depends on whether or not they support that kind of culture. If they have a culture, a people first culture, then you're going to get that. But I think you're going to lose people. The bigger and bigger you get, you're going to start losing people, And I don't mean losing people walking out the door. I mean losing the connection to people that you need to give them to give them the best support.
I'm just a number, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, being disengaged in work is a very big thing that culturally right now is happening everywhere, not just in our industry. Excuse me. But having a feeling of connectedness is a big deal. And a lot of people are feeling that way, whether it's in mining or throughout the rest of the world. So I can see that playing a role in that for sure.
Yeah, we've had some opportunity to sit in like at the NVMA convention and listen to the heads of all these organizations and to hear their different perspectives on how they're approaching their workforce, whether it's safety, whether it's production, even down to different shifts. And, what does that look like? Have we been doing it wrong all these years to lose focus on our miners, to where it's been pretty cool this year to see the differences in mindsets between companies, Yeah.
I think last year, I noticed it last year at this conference in particular, and then I've been noticing it through the year. There's a huge focus on mental health. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important for people to finally realize, that's something we need to address, not just at home, but in the work environment, in the mining community, everywhere. You know?
Well, those have been some of my favorite podcasts to be a part of. And one is Chewy Herrera and Alan Franklin. It's okay to not be okay. But to get down to that level with your peers, and be able to have that trust and know that, hey, I'm going to tell Grover that I'm not okay, trusting that he's going to help me somehow without telling everybody and me feel like shit, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the next evolution of that is because if I asked, let's say there's 100 operators, meaning mine operators, mining companies here, if I asked 100 of them how many covered that in their ART or covered in their new hire or even covered it in their lineouts in the last 12 months, maybe 25%, 50%. I don't hear a lot about it. I think that's the next evolution in where we need to go, is making that a part of our daily conversations or our line out discussions, is going, how's everybody really doing?
That was my biggest question walking away from NVMA in Tahoe this year, was after one of the conversations was, in my mind, I wanted to be able to ask that question to the group, like, how comfortable are your employees coming up to you as an individual, the head of the company, and letting you know how they feel? Are they just going to walk by you, or can they greet you, or you're going to greet them, to where I think that's where it needs to get to where people, not only they don't feel like a number, 2, they actually feel like they matter. And then 3, they're able to start opening up and peeling back the onion on, what's really going on.
Yeah. I think it's important to have a structure and for accountability purposes, but I also think it's important to have a culture that people do feel comfortable just to go right to the top if they need to, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying personally, even if you've seen them at the store, like, hey, what's going on, Mike? To where most of the time your managers are like, ooh, I don't even want to go to the store, because they're going to be, whether they see somebody that they've had to reprimand or whatever it might be. I've had some conversations with people that they go, no, I let my wife do the shopping. I just stay at home,
Yeah. Hey, I've got a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
So this has always been really curious to me. So you guys live in a mining community, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That's what they tell us.
Predominantly mining community, which I think is super cool, right? So what's it like living in Elko, or let's say Winnemucca even, and running into all of those folks at the local Walmart or the Rite Aid or whatever? I mean, it's got to be really interesting.
I'll go first. So I am a Nevada native through and through. We grew up in Ely, moved to Beatty. From Beatty, I went to Vegas. Then I came to Reno, and then I'm in Elko now. And so my kids, no matter where we go, I see somebody and we'll chat for 40 minutes, hour, and they're like, gosh, Dad, everybody. And it's like, for me, it's been amazing. Like, not only, coming back into the industry, 15 years ago, and I seen people that I worked with when I was just getting out of high school in the mines. It's a family. I'm going to tell a story that I think is so cool that Grover does with his boys. They play a game called Buggy Whip, and that's how you're getting close to Elko's. If you see a buggy whip, you buggy whip. And so we're driving one day, and we're coming back into Elko, and his 2 little ones are in the back seat. Buggy whip, buggy whip. And I'm like, what are they saying, dude? He's like, oh, we play a game called Buggy Whip, and you count how many buggy whips you see from here till you get to the house, and then you win.
That is a true story. I'll echo a lot of what Dino says. People go, well, how is it? How's this? You guys are our friends. I mean, I don't, we have the opportunity and the privilege, I would say, to sit down and learn so much about people. But the community that we're in is an awesome. Do we love everybody? No, you go to softball games and you throw beers at each other or something. You have those. But I'll say this: like, even the people that maybe we haven't got along with back in the day, they're still good people. They still would give you their shirt off their back. So for me, it's amazing. We have phenomenal family, phenomenal friends, a group, a community. Not everything's perfect. You still get pissed off on the road and flip somebody off. I just got to remember I'm in a truck that people identify me.
Yeah, it's a billboard that shows mining mines all over it.
Yeah. But for me, I'm grateful because
it's a lifestyle.
100%.
And I guess that's one thing that I think that I wish that we had more of, to show the pride of being a miner. When you're coming into our town, having billboards that say entering mining country,
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a sense of pride that we all carry. That the mining industry in Nevada could do better on. When you hit these little towns, that you're in mining country.
Yeah. Well, and I will say this. So Victor actually asked me this the other day. He said, do you get tired of being on? And I said, I'm not on. Like, I'm
just us.
I am just wired differently in that way, but I enjoy and love what we have the opportunity to do. I loved mining. Did I love every day? No. I loved safety. I loved all the jobs that I had. Now I just get to talk about the amazing people that are in that industry. And people go, really? You're excited? Dude, I'm excited every day. Him and I, you guys would not believe the conversations that we have, and usually in it's gratitude somewhere.
Oh yeah. Well, I think all the time. I mean, really, I think our wives maybe not. They go, hey, can we talk about something different? It's like, hey, we're in the mineral space, man. We're loving this. Honestly, it's just I wouldn't even say it's a passion. It's just a lifestyle. It's how we were brought up. And I think when we were younger, we didn't understand what that meant. Yeah. But now that we've been in it for the last 15 years, it's like, this is just who we are. It's in our blood.
Sponsoring this episode of the podcast, Liebherr Mining. When it comes to mining, you need equipment that works as hard as you do, day in and day out. That's why Mining Minds is proud to partner with our good friends, Liebherr Mining. For more than 50 years, Liebherr has been delivering a full line of mining solutions. Ultra-class haul trucks, powerful hydraulic excavators, dozers, and cutting-edge technology systems, all built to maximize productivity, lower operating costs, and keep your people safe. So whether it's moving massive volumes of material, tackling the toughest overburden, or integrating digital fleet management, Liebherr designs each machine with efficiency, durability, and sustainability in mind. That's Liebherr Mining. Click the links on the episode notes to find out more today.
I grew up in a small town too, right? And the mine, there was only one, Homestake McLaughlin, and it was the biggest, job employer in the county, essentially. And I got to go to work there, and because of that mine, and because what I learned at that mine, starting as a haul truck driver, going into dozer, grader, and loader, and other pieces of equipment, and then into the safety department, was I able to continue start a career with MSHA, which took me into retirement and a wonderful annuity, right? Retirement. So I'm so grateful for mining, and I've met so many people over the years. Going to Elko, going to Winnemucca, heading up to Idaho, Alaska, so many amazing people, especially in the mine rescue community, and safety communities. I'm so grateful for all of that.
100%.
And I think
it's hard not to want to stay in it, right?
Yeah.
So, I could go home and put on a bathing suit and hang out by the lake, but no, it's just not me.
Yeah. Well, I think at some point you could, it'd be fun to relax, but then it's like, for me, I miss the people. It's about the people. And hearing the more stories that we hear, the more energy it almost gives me, to where it's like, wow.
It's a good way to put it, man.
You know what I mean? It just like, we get to feed off of somebody else's story, but we also get to put it out to the world.
Yeah. I think that you probably said it the best. It just fuels you. And the mining community, and I'm sure they're similar, maybe oil and gas, but really it's a different breed of people. And I say this on a couple podcasts, I'm sure you've heard it, but we want everybody to take a look at us. But us three sitting around this table, the people in these rooms, they're built just a little bit different. Yeah. And we also pride ourselves on that. And we're not perfect, and we're faulty. I know I am. But I got a lot of defects.
We're going to figure it out.
But we're going to figure it out. And that is such a cool thing about the industry.
You know what it reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of the brotherhood and sisterhood of firefighting,
sure,
EMS. That's what it kind of reminds me of, except it's giant communities of people instead of just one little station.
Yeah.
What I mean?
And I don't know if you want to talk about what Jason and you have been working on from the military side of things, but
we can.
These guys are, they've got a nice brainchild that's about ready to come to fruition, called Military to Mining. And it's something that Grover and our other partner, Jason James, have spearheaded, to where Jason's a captain, or I can't remember what he is in the Army, but he's going to help be the liaison for Mining Minds, and being that guy to help, the guys that are coming out of the military into the mining industry.
Well, I think that military and Ben Powell and people like that, they've said the military is similar to mining similar to military. So when we talk about
camaraderie and
different segments, it makes sense. You got the firefighting or the paramedics. There's a different group of people. We just get to be big kids and play in a bunch of dirt that not a lot of people think is cool, but we do. So
the cool part is, though, too, is like we get the opportunity to showcase to the people that listen to us how many different avenues the mining industry has for careers. Coming into like I was talking to my daughter's boyfriend this last weekend in Vegas. he was really interested in the minerals. And then we started talking about the whole downstream outside of the mine itself. He's like, man, I didn't realize that there was that much that went into it. I'm like, yeah, there's professional careers all the way throughout. And not only are they fun, but you get paid almost double what the normal person outside of the mining industry makes. And he's like, starting to scratch his head like, hey, maybe I don't want to cut lawns or have a landscape company, right? It's like,
I read recently that the median annual wage for a miner in Nevada is about $114,000.
yeah, close. That's what I think they said 123,000 at MVMA convention, and the other median income was like 63,000.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What a huge difference, you know. And you mentioned people from all over in community and stuff. You know, we talked about firefighters and EMS. There's a lot of miners out there that are volunteers.
Yeah,
100%.
They volunteers, you know, for all kinds of different agencies out there.
Yeah, and I think that's even cooler. Like when I ran on the Elko department ambulance and did mine rescue out at the place that we mined at. Elko's got to be the safest place in the country. Like if somebody goes down, you just got to worry about who's giving you mouth to mouth. You know,
or who's going to show up and actually strip you and flip you, and they don't need to.
Adams.
Yeah. So So I do want to walk through a little bit. I mean, you've guys got a ton of people here. What is one of the things that you're most excited about for this conference, or maybe a couple of them?
You know, the event at Makita. Event at the Makita facility is going to be amazing.
Wednesday evening, right?
Wednesday evening. I hear it's going to be super fun. It's a gambling event.
Yes. Do you get to win tools?
Not with real money, but yeah, there's a potential that, you know, if you like power tools like I do, yes, you have a potential to win some pretty cool stuff.
We might need to go there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely looking forward to that. That's
what power tool are you hoping to win if you won one power tool?
Well, you know, every time I go to that Makita facility for a meeting or something, I always go to Home Depot right after because I saw something I had to have. Because they don't sell them out there; they just show them, right? Yeah, I don't know what I would want. Maybe one of those really cool miter. I got a miter saw, but I think the Makita miter saw is, you know, it stands out.
Okay.
They have some unique tools coming out these days too that you throw on top of a screw gun anymore, and you're like. I saw one the other day. It was a tin cutter that you threw over the top of a damn screw gun. So, I'm excited to kind of check that out too.
Yeah.
Any speeches that you're looking forward to? I know all of them. You can't, but if there was one.
I'm excited to hear what Paul Kismer has to say tomorrow morning, and then also Victor.
Sure.
I'm curious about that. Willa Perlmutter, she's going to do a little presentation on the differences between OSHA and MSHA, which I think is going to be a great breakout. I got to see in advance a little bit of her presentation, and the information is incredible. Some stuff I didn't even know. So if you have people that are working in both of those realms, that's a great presentation to go to. And of course, I'm putting one on too. Karen and I are doing one, the 5 W's of internal investigations.
I saw that. Which was huge. I actually had a couple buddies I talked to that were going to go to that. I'm like, you should.
Hopefully we're able to go watch too.
Depends on how many podcasts we get done.
I might have to cash out for that one.
Well, I don't know.
I'll put up a little sign right here. Be back in an hour.
Yeah. Dang it. I was going to ask you something else, but I don't know. I guess we'll leave that for another day.
What was it? A shower story?
No. So I remember what I was going to ask you. Now, Did we ever ask you for a shower story?
You did,
Yes.
I was going to allude to an MSHA inspector shower story that wasn't me, but then I decided I probably shouldn't tell the story because, I just probably shouldn't.
Are we back online? Are we there again, or are we still shouldn't?
Not yet. Maybe by the end of the convention.
The inspector's no longer with us, which means he passed away, a couple of years ago. But still,
that's fair. That's fair. Well, here's the thing. I don't think this is gonna be the last time we have you on, so I hope it's not. And think of, I'm sure you can round up.
He's going to have you work up one for sure somewhere.
I think in the last time we talked, you promised me a whiskey when I came to the studio, so I'll be looking forward to that.
You got to come to the studio because we owe you a hat. That's part of this running.
She asked for the whiskey tonight.
Whiskey's tonight. That's an easy one. Yeah, but I want her at the studio too.
For sure.
I want to check out our bolt pattern, see how we did.
Yeah.
But my question was really for you on the pros and cons of MSHA, OSHA, relation. Why I say this, maybe I'll tee it up a little bit, is that OSHA's done a good job of updating and continuing to kind of grow, where I see MSHA hasn't. So I would see that as like, how do we get those two on the same page, and why wouldn't they be?
I think that's what they were trying to do with the silica rule, was try to get it on the same page.
Oh, really?
With OSHA, but they just took it a little bit too far, I think, where, they didn't take into consideration the stress it would put on companies, or what would have to be done to make it happen, and even the industry that would have to be created just to make sure that people could comply. So I don't know. I always found federal OSHA to be reactive, and MSHA to be proactive.
Really?
So, and I think that's a positive. They get out there, they have mandated inspections where OSHA only responds if somebody complains.
Yep.
So I think it's good. I think it's good to have MSHA at the mines. And I think that a majority of people that work in MSHA are exceptional people and dedicated to mine safety. You do have your few outliers anywhere you go.
Oh, you called them outliers?
Well,
We had
I'm
different
trying to be
names.
nice.
No, I'll tell you, I'm going to throw out a name right now. I don't know what everybody else thinks, but I don't care. Bill Whitby. He actually taught me a lot about electrical, and he took the time to explain things to me on a different level. And him and I would spend a half hour to an hour at his vehicle before he left, and him going, hey, dummy, this is what you need to do, and this is how you have to look at things. But that allowed me to go back to the workforce and go, now I understand. Now I kind of see where things are at. Yeah. So it's people like him that I'm sure you're referring to when you're saying amazing inspectors and people out there that are helping from the MSHA side.
Yeah, there's some great people. I like Bill. Yeah, that's a good example. Bill Troy Van Way. He took my job. He has that position now, supervisory special investigator. Fantastic individual, good heart, down to earth.
Yep.
Easy to talk to. There's so many people like that in the agency. There really are. Hopefully they can keep them all and get them back to work.
Sure.
I've got a question with MSHA and technology. How much is MSHA involved with the OEMs that are producing all this new technology, whether it's AI, whether it's battery, whether it's in anything that we're trying to be innovative to help with the manpower loss that we're going to be seeing over the next 5 to 7 years? Like, how involved are they to start creating standards proactively rather than a battery electric vehicle being underground and having a fire and closing the mine down for 3 months because there's no standard written around it, right?
Yeah. That would be, they have a technological arm, in Pittsburgh that deals with a lot of stuff. That would be a question for them, right? A question for them, and probably a question for headquarters. Those folks in the field that just work on enforcement and compliance don't really have the knowledge with respect to what's going on there. But
yeah, that's just something that we've heard.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard, in the field, but that's a good explanation. Because I think the miners are looking at the inspectors in the field and expecting them to know, but if they're not getting the directive from, headquarters.
There's so many emerging technologies,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And trying to keep up with them at the mine itself is one thing, but trying to train inspectors to those things too. And how are we going to enforce that?
Yeah, well,
Correct.
how do you push the OEMs, or how does the law get made where the OEMs have to push all this new technology through MSHA?
Unfortunately, I think that the process is too slow
100%.
for how fast technology is going. So it's always going to have a lagging effect. But then that goes on to potentially your social responsibility as an operator or as a company to go, this is what we know, and this is how we're mitigating these risks. And in certain cases, I've had to do that. And I've called, what are they called? Assessment, courtesy CAV. Courtesy assessment visit or
Courtesy, it's a compliance assistance visit.
yeah, but I've called those on new technologies, to your point, because I wanted a second set of eyes. Really what they were doing is to come out and walk through this process with me. But it was a new technology that I used a old technique or old process for, because I I want somebody else to look at this besides us, right?
Yeah.
So you use the tools that you have,
Yeah.
but I think it's moving too fast to really wrap our heads around it, even from site to site sometimes.
Well, I think in some perspective, I mean, with the technology age that we're in, I mean, we still got to be able to protect the miner, right? And if that means slowing down the process so we don't have to write a new set of standards in blood again, I mean, that's something I think that, you know, the industry needs to look at to go, are we sure that we're not going to be putting people in harm's way with this new technology that we don't have standards built around is all.
Yeah, and conferences like this are key to that.
Yes.
Teaching people, you know, getting those folks in from the industry, those vendors to come and talk about the issues, talk about what's happening, and talk about the technologies to get people prepared for it.
Yeah.
So are you excited for what the future of mining looks like?
I am excited.
Right.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, we need people, right? And we need quality people, and we need them to be properly trained. But yeah, I am excited. I am excited about the emerging technologies. I'm excited about all of it. Yeah.
How many jobs, and I'm just going to throw this out there as a kind of a baited question, but do you think that technology is going to take away safety jobs?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. Usually that's the first thing that goes in a budget.
Sure.
And it's really unfortunate that happened to us at Homestake. We had 7 or 8 people on the safety department, and it dwindled down to 2. You know.
Oh yeah. There's ratios out there. You got 100 to 1 or something, you know, 150 to 1. And it's like,
right.
So, I mean, granted, you're not with those guys every day, but that's still a lot of work and so I'm wondering how technology hopefully comes in and supplements that, or if you've seen any of that or heard any of that.
Well, if anything, you got to imagine that the safety departments would be growing because you need more manpower on the technology to analyze and come up with the best standards around that. I mean, maybe in the future it can, you know, decrease, you know, after you get your hands and your head wrapped around it. But I would imagine that the safety departments are going to have to be probably busier than most.
Yeah, but when you have a spot open on the team and you can put somebody into a haul truck or put somebody into a safety program, they're going to go to a production unit, right?
That's why I asked my previous question, right? Is like, when do we slow down or stop forcing the production and really wrap our heads around what we're doing and build our bench strength in the areas needed to where we're not having an autonomous pit and we've got a light vehicle that goes out that's unmarked that is, you know, the other vehicles don't see and he gets ran over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just things like that I've been thinking about here recently, that it's like, are we slowing down enough as an industry to at least analyze those situations?
Yeah.
It's a great question. It's just always, if we're being realistic about it, it's the what is it, tail wagging the dog type thing, where you're kind of always going in this circle where they, on some level, even if it's a high level, they do an assessment of how many people they need. You can always use more people. And so what's that balancing act, right? And then there's a confidence in these groups as well to, you know, and we've talked about it quite a bit, but there's the delusion of safety is what I call it. People, Chernobyl thought that it was a safe place until something didn't happen. And there, to me, that's what lies with being too safety proud and always thinking that we're doing perfect is really what's getting swept under the rug. Because then you start pulling safety people away from that.
Exactly. Just because you get this safety program in place doesn't mean that you back off.
Correct.
And take those people out of there. And it's all about productivity, right? It's all about profit margin. All right. You can't really work a good profit margin if you don't have both of those things together.
100%.
Safety and production have to work together. They can't be separate.
Correct.
Do you think there's any value in having a private investigator employee working at the face with miners to get the real message to the mine operator?
A private investigator.
Well, it's somebody that's hired as a mine employee, but
Third party.
not even a third party. They maybe that's just their job is they're getting paid to get the real message out, what's working, what's not, and what the complaints are, and helping extract the information for the culture to become better.
Yeah.
I mean, because you were a private investigator, right?
I wasn't private.
Or
I was paid by your taxpayer dollars.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you very
yeah,
much.
But you know you know what I'm saying. It like
Special investigator, though, right?
special, yeah.
Yeah, but that was they don't do sneaky things like that. That's not, they can't just come in and pretend like they're an average everyday miner to see what's going on. No, everything's out up front, and here we are, kind of a thing with the investigations in MSHA. But you have a great idea. If a mine operator wanted to know the truth about what was happening, then they could invest in someone.
Yeah, that's what
who
I mean.
would go down and operate right with the folks and find out what the deficiencies are and come back. But I think you have to use that in a positive way and not a negative disciplinary type of way.
It's about just getting the true message across.
Get the message and understand what needs to be corrected or what culture needs to change to improve on it. Yeah.
Problem with that is you have to have a mine operator that doesn't think that they can go down and do that. Mm-hmm. And so therein lies your first issue is that if I'm a mine operator, why am I going to hire somebody else to do what I think that I can do already?
Not what I think I could do, what I should be doing.
What you should be doing, right? So it's admitting a failure on some level.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, if I'm the mine operator, okay, and I decide I'm going to do this, I'm going to go see what's happening down there. As soon as I walk into that heading, guess what? Everything's going to be absolutely perfect.
You got it.
Nobody's going to make any mistakes, right?
Yeah.
They're all going to be on, P's and Q's, hard hats on, safety glasses on, everything.
And
so
the reason I asked the question is I had a conversation the other day with my buddy. He's an underground miner. He's a supervisor, and he's one of those guys that he's a jokester. He's firm, he's fair, but he gets down with his guys, and he was nipping for one of his guys, right? And he's like, I was sweating up a storm. I had my glasses on. I couldn't see nothing. He goes, I said, you're living their life, man. And now when you go down in the hole and you're telling them put their safety glasses on, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know. I'm still wrapping my head around that. And and it's like, those are the things that you need to see, because if you're setting these standards up around what you think should happen, but you're not living in the miner's boots, is it really the right thing to do?
Well, it's compliant versus being safe versus a risk associated with that. And I think those are kind of the juggling balls that you kind of juggle. I'm sure there's more, but compliant doesn't always mean safe. And I think I've used the example over and over. The guys, the steel workers that didn't have fall protection, they were compliant back in the day. They weren't necessarily safe. So we got to think about that. But I think the other side of it too is there's a risk factor, and I'm going to say using a respirator, right? Having safety glasses, different things like that. Those can actually start causing more safety issues at times when you're breathing heavy, you're bending over, your stuff's getting caught here or there. So I think those things have to be looked at on a realistic point of view as well. And that conversation just needs to be had. Like, hey, this is the scenario that we're in. I did a cutting tool thing many years ago, and the reality is we took away like 75 to 80% of cutting tools that were necessary on site, replaced them with different things, but there were still things you needed an actual sharp blade to do the job. Mm-hmm. So to your point, there's some great conversation in there. There's always just a juggling act, in my opinion, of how to do things.
I think it's important what you brought up. People need to understand what all those miners are dealing with, on a daily basis, to understand the changes they can make to improve it. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I go to work, I want to be happy that I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I want to feel good when I'm there, and I want to know that I'm supported, right? So.
Well, what you don't want is your miners thinking about the things that they have to hide just to get their job done efficiently, because you're asking for so much ounces or production or whatever it might be. They want to do a good job, but they're in a situation to where now they're thinking about, oh, I've got to hide this here.
Bypassing safety.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, they've got crumbs that they've got to sweep up before that they can do their job.
Yeah.
And so that's I just think it's interesting we get to talk on some of these topics this week, and that's what the convention hopefully is really about, is learning and getting people's heads wrapped around what are we doing.
I love that we're just having like this kind of real conversation. It gets me excited because I think more and more people are starting to have real conversations. And that, to me, is where we need to take all of this.
I will tell you this. I would love to see you at the Women in Mining Convention this year in Arizona. That was probably the best convention that I went to, Grover and I went to. last year because of the topics of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were open. They were honest. They weren't holding no punches.
Yeah.
It was just raw and real.
I'm a member of the California chapter.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to tell you guys just continually impress the hell out of me.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. I mean, some of this, like the things that pop into your head just blow my mind. I
There's a
mean,
lot of drugs in there.
Stop. I don't
Just
do that.
I
resin.
mean, come on. I mean, it really incites meaningful conversation, and I love it. So thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for sharing your thoughts and all that stuff that's spinning up there. It's pretty,
There's a
it's
lot.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it might not make sense to most, but it does up here.
Hey, that's what it's about, man. Keep having that conversation. I was gonna say thank you. And excited for our conversation when you come out to the studio.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we get to catch up with her one more time. Maybe at the end of the week we can do a debrief on how we think the convention went, and all the exciting things that hopefully we're going to learn.
So I do got to ask: is there anything being recorded? Somebody said something about something was being recorded, and I guess the reason I asked, I was wondering.
Grover's got a warrant out for his arrest. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's why we're so late to release things, is so people don't know where I'm at.
I'm kidding.
No. I just was curious. Somebody had mentioned that, so I was wondering.
Well, pretty much the whole thing gets recorded. There's a lot of photographs that are taken. We have a photographer. She's going to set up right over here across from you guys.
Yeah.
But she's going to be out there taking pictures and videos the whole time. All the presentations will be up on the website when the conference is over.
Okay. Cool.
So all that stuff will be available to people. Yeah. So
We want to be able to help continue to promote even after the show.
Yeah.
And also we're capturing content as well. If it's something that you guys want to be able to take a look at and thumb through if you want some of it, we can do that too.
we reached out to the Reno Gazette Journal to come out, and I'm not sure about the response on that. And we also reached out to some local TV stations, so hopefully they show up, and we'll know if you see them.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, hopefully.
Well, it is phenomenal catching up with you. Thank
Great
you.
catching up with you too.
Absolutely. There's a whiskey here in the near future.
Yes, sir.
Well, I certainly hope so.
And you guys stay tuned. We're going to be coming back for some more. But thank you again, Dan. Adios.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thanks for listening into this episode of the podcast, guys. We appreciate you. Appreciate Diane Watson coming in, sitting down for our first episode at the Mine Safety and Health Conference. Before I get into the recap, I want to thank Safety First Training and Consulting for sponsoring us to get out there, helping us do what we do, and that's be the voice inside the industry. If you guys are interested in sponsoring or helping us out, please brass in and let us know. I'm going to give you guys a couple takeaways from my perspective that we dove into on the podcast. The first one, and probably early on in the podcast, I'm sure you guys had some thoughts on, was educating the youth, the opportunities that we have there from a safety perspective, especially with all the people leaving the industry. I think we have a good opportunity to change culture and not just being that checkbox culture. We can actually drive change. So that was one thing to me that kind of hit home throughout this episode, was really fostering that early curiosity, understanding, and then turning that into everyday work life, right? How they see and view the work that they do from a safety perspective. The second big takeaway I had was breaking down the importance of MSHA, really kind of reframing that role. Those field inspectors that are out there, they build relationships. I've had a couple individuals, like I spoke on the podcast, that have been very influential, but getting them involved. I know we oftentimes look at some of those guys as out there to just beat us down, but I think if you start building relationships and understanding their point of view, that helps develop a better safety culture. And it's really a resource that we talked about it on the OSHA side. They're reactive. So unless something occurs or an accident happens or an incident happens, you're not seeing those guys like you are an MSHA inspector. So I think doing what's worked for me in the past, and it's working to build some positive relationships with those guys and utilize them as a resource to improve your culture. And then the last thing, it kind of falls in line with this stuff too, is the new technology and honestly, federal regulations. It's new technologies are outpacing, and I think they're always going to outpace the federal regulations. I think the onus then falls on the mine companies or the mine operators. And how are you best utilizing your resources, like an MSHA inspector, to maybe mitigate all those risks? There's a lot of different things out there, whether it's from the equipment side, the chemical side, the AI side. There's a lot of different technologies. Again, I'll say that, new technology will always outpace the federal regulations. But rather than using that as a loophole of some sort, look at it as an opportunity to be best in class for your solutions, for the outside the box ideas, concepts, and maybe standards that you and your company put in place. And I guess what I'd leave you guys with this is, if you do have new technologies, maybe that you're trying, but the mine down the road isn't, or the district across the nation isn't, maybe we should figure out a way to group share, group think, and help each other out in building maybe a best-in-class standard. So again, that's a collaboration side of me, but I do think that there's enough new things going on we can all benefit from. With that being said, I want to thank Diane again for coming on the podcast. You guys can check out her original episode, number 93. Her and her team there getting us over to the conference, having us be a part of it. Really cool experience. We appreciate you guys. And if you're out there pounding roads, driving drifts, or pushing throughput, stay safe.
Yeah. Deep in the dirt, where the gold veins glisten. Dino and Grover, yo, you better listen. Mining mines pour past the real coalition. For miners, by miners, this the mission. Pickaxes swinging, sweat drips in the night. Cages to the core, chasing that light. Dino drop gems like they mine from the earth. Grover spit wisdom, showing the worth. Not just the ops, but the crew and the grind. Mental and physical, sharpening the mind. Steel-toed boots and a hard hat halo. Every episode, yo, we digging payloads. Mining mines, where the stories unfold. From the tunnels to the tips, the grit and the gold. Weekly wisdom, it's raw and refined. The only podcast for miners by miners. Mining mines, where the stories unfold. From the tunnels to the tips, the grit and the gold. Weekly wisdom, it's raw and refined. The only podcast for miners by miners. Mining minds. Conversations cut deep like a diamond blade. Talking skills and tactics, how the game is played. Stories from the stop, where the shadows loom. Mental health check, keep the spirits in tune. It's more than a job, it's a way of life. From the cold seams black to the copper stripe. They dig for the truth, they drill through the fake. Dropping heavy bass, make the underground quake. Where the stories unfold. From the tunnels to the tips, the grit and the gold. Weekly wisdom, it's raw and refined. The only podcast for miners by miners. Mining minds, salt of the earth, every word got weight. Dino and Grover, they narrate the fate. From the muck to the mill, every step, every climb. Every week they deliver one vein at a time. Hear the call of the depths, it's a world of its own. Mining minds, yo, it's carved in stone.